The Crooked Tree Wildlife Sanctuary is recognized as a wetland of international importance, or a Ramsar site. This protected area consists of over 14,000 acres of waterways, logwoods, swamps, and lagoon. This wetland provides a habitat for over 300 species of resident and migratory birds. It is also home to other wildlife such as fish, snakes, turtles, and frogs. This protected area borders one of the oldest Creole communities in the country, Crooked Tree Village. And to ensure the viability of this important ecosystem, residents must learn how to make use of its resources sustainably.
Birds, right? Every Sunday I could recall as a child, my dad used to go out. We never used to go to the store to buy chicken. My dad would go and kill a bird, and that's what we're going to eat on Sundays.
Verna Samuels is the co-owner of Bird's Eye View Lodge, an accommodation in the village that provides overnight stays, tours of the lagoon, and bird-watching expeditions for tourists. Born and raised in Crooked Tree, she recalls her father hunting the limpkin birds, also known as the crying birds. That culture of hunting birds for food has become practically non-existent in the community. Amanda Acosta, the executive director at the Belize Audubon Society, and her team have led the charge in providing public awareness to residents about the importance of this wetland and its wildlife.
In the 80s, when it was designated as a wildlife sanctuary. By law, a wildlife sanctuary does not allow for extraction. Yeah. Unfortunately, that does not recognize the traditional usage within the community. That community has always fished. And so it was an area of contention. Contention did build up at one point and it came to a head. And we were forced to go back to the drawing board, both with the community and with the government.
Derek Hendy is the site manager at the Crooked Tree Wildlife Sanctuary for the Belize Audubon Society. Hendy understands the traditional significance of this wetland to villagers. He works with residents in schools in surrounding communities to provide education on this habitat.
People use it as for food. Every time when it filters out, people would catch the fish and sell it. But there's, as I said, there's a rules and regulation. People really doesn't want to follow the rules and regulation. They just want to do whatsoever they want to do. And if we continue that way, we'll eventually contaminate all of our waterway, and it will be much more expensive for us to even maintain, and for us to get drinking water.
The Crooked Tree Wildlife Sanctuary acts as a catchment area for the Belize River that flows from the west of the country to the east and into the Caribbean Sea. The water that flows into this wetland goes through a natural filtration process, removing excess contaminants before flowing back out into the river. Water levels vary throughout the year as a result. But apart from its value to wildlife and naturally purified water, the sanctuary attracts tourism capital for residents.
Bird tourism is actually one of the main driving tourism reasons for that in that community. That's what people go there for. And so if there's no fish, there won't be any birds, because that's the food source for the birds as well. So they're all tightly interweaved in terms of one needs the other.
The wetland is what causes the birds and, like all the wildlife, not just the birds, to be here, and then in turn that brings the tourists who are bird lovers, nature lovers. So it's like a cycle that, if the birds are here, we start with the wetland. If the wetland is here, the birds are here, the wildlife is here, and that attract the business that we want to attract, the tourists.
At the government level, policies have been developed to govern protected areas that are also traditionally used by surrounding communities, like the Crooked Tree Wildlife Sanctuary. Whereas most protected areas fall under what is termed as a Classification 1, or a no-take zone, Orlando Habet, the Minister of Sustainable Development, explained that given the circumstances, the Crooked Tree Wildlife Sanctuary falls under what is known as Classification 2. This permits certain traditional activities.
We have to understand and we have to realize that there are communities that are built around these protected areas, and people will have to have their livelihoods, and they will have to fish, they will have to hunt, they might have to harvest some medicinal plants and do a little bit of farming. But we work along with them so that all of this can be done sustainably, so that it can be there for many, many generations to come. And the good thing with the community is that they have realized this also. And so they want to do the protection, and they want to have their children and grandchildren and future generations to be able to enjoy what is there now, and hopefully they can protect it and conserve it in a way that they can use some of it now, and for generations that come, they can also have something that they can use for their livelihoods.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.